All right, so I've been preparing for this for the last 5 minutes, and I'm really excited about this panel. We opened the Seattle NFT Museum January 14th of this year, and we've now had 6 exhibitions, so we do new exhibitions every 6 weeks, which means we get to work with so many incredible artists, we get to touch on so many important topics for artists, and it's just been incredibly rewarding. Our little PSA, if you haven't visited, please do. We're open daytime hours today and tomorrow, so we'd love to see you, and yeah, get in touch with us if you'd like to collaborate in some way. I'm going to start off just by going down the row here, and first, just give us a pretty quick overview of like who you are, remind us of your name, but what it is that you do.
Hi everyone, my name is Zoe Winters. I'm an animator. I went from interning at a contemporary art gallery to studying digital art and Japanese in college, and I was making game assets and selling them, and then at the right time I got into NFTs, and it's worked out, and I've been showing work and meeting really cool people. Now I'm here.
Hi, I'm Jaiden Stipp, or Jasti as I go on Twitter, but I am a 16-year-old artist from around here, and I started in the NFT space in March of last year, and it just led me in crazy places throughout the past year. And I've been making art and experimenting and doing a bunch of stuff.
Hey guys, I'm Kelsey J. I am a full-time freelance photographer. Been doing this full-time for about 4 years. Got into the NFT space about a year and a half ago. Seattle-based. I mostly do conceptual self-portraits and nature is what I do in the NFT space. And yeah, it's been a wild ride so far. Yeah.
Gabe Weis. I'm a little bit older than 16, just a tad bit. But I've been in the NFT space for about a year and a half. I went from barely selling paintings to being on a rocket ship for about a year and a half and enjoying the ride. I do cubism in the stream of consciousness cubism out of the Bay Area.
I am Patrick. I am an artist.
Patrick, what kind of artist are you?
I make glitchy street art. I've been making digital art for about 10 years now.
What's glitch art?
Glitch art is very frenetic, visually aberrated art that you compile together into a GIF.
You know it when you see it, right?
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it.
Absolutely. Well, I do, this is sort of maybe the prerequisite question that always happens at every NFT conference, but what got you into this? You don't have to tell us your whole life story, but what was the thing that like really caused you to go, oh, this is a place where I should be investing, and this is something I should start to consider as a part of my artistic practice? Gabe, why don't you start us off?
Money. I mean, real talk, Micah Johnson last February sold something for like 1.3 million, and it showed up on my Apple News, and I was like, I want to make $1.3 million selling my art. And I jumped onto Clubhouse and met several people that are here, was like on it for 18 hours a day for 3 months. And the rest has been magic. It's
a pretty big commitment, 18 hours a day for 3 months, and you thought this is going to happen somehow? This is just going to all come together?
I mean, just to be clear, I had like 0 friends in the art industry, 0 friends in the crypto industry, 0 dev friends, so I was just like, this is the best leveling up I could possibly do as a human, is to be on this app, and I'm a really big fan of trying to pursue my dreams, so just whatever works.
I love it. How about you, Kelsey? And after Kelsey, I want you guys to just popcorn it, so just fight for the next position.
For sure, yeah. I had a really good friend, Ted. He's Ted's Little Dreams, works amazing. We've been friends for, oh my gosh, like 8 years. And one day he called me up and he was like, Kelsey, I need you online for this print sale at 4 o'clock today. And I was like, Ted, you do a lot of print sales. I'm busy. I'm not going to make it. And he was like, no, you have to be online for this. And it turns out he had a drop on Nifty Gateway and made 6 figures in under 10 minutes selling his amazing digital art. And I was like, this is something we need to pay attention to. I did the same thing as Gabe here. I got addicted to Clubhouse. Was on it, maybe not as many hours as you, but probably a solid 8 hours a day. And yeah, I never looked back since. It's been really, really cool to see how the space has grown since then.
Yeah, so just like these two, I was on Clubhouse like 18 hours a day, burned out after 4 months. But prior to that, I had interned at that contemporary art gallery, and I was there as an intern, like, oh, I want to see if I can become an artist too. I ended up going to college, and I took the DX arts route, which was digital art. And I had so many people ask me, why are you doing digital art? You can't get into a gallery, like there's no space for you in the contemporary art world. And so somehow, like my last 2 quarters of school, NFTs started to erupt, and I asked another animator, like, hey, how did you start doing this? And it was actually Nest Graphics. And he walked me through MetaMask, and it was just like serendipitous timing. And then I started meeting people like this. I went to Kelsey's, well, she was part of the show at the Seattle NFT Museum, and it's just been amazing. Like, I'm so grateful for the way everything's worked out.
All right, so I learned about NFTs through a good friend on Instagram I've been following, if you know, Sam J Studios and Defaced. I saw they started selling stuff back in December, and it intrigued me. So I just applied to Super Rare. I didn't know it was an NFT platform. I just thought it was this cool thing I could sell artwork on.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't really understand.
They probably would love that story. Yeah.
But yeah, from there I applied, and then I got accepted somehow within a month. And I put my first NFT up on Super Rare in February, and then it ended up getting bid up to 20 Ethereum. And then it's been going on from there, and it's been fun.
How did it start for you, Patrick?
Yeah, well, it was Beeple. You know, it was $68, $9 million sale of digital art. NFTs was just not on my radar at all. I saw that, and it was, you know, after making art for 10 years, I was like, holy shit, someone made money selling digital art. And I jumped in completely. I stopped doing everything else. I spent the next 3 months spending 12 to 14 hours a day on Twitter, trying to figure out who these people were, what this community was about, and it's a really engaging, interesting place. And I don't know, the more time you spend there, I think the more fun it gets. And just went completely down the rabbit hole after that, and then got on Super Rare, you know, end of June, and then kind of went from there. So.
Why do you think NFTs mean so much for digital artists? Like, why is it like so proliferate at this point?
Well, I think you have like the right-click save as argument, which I think we've all heard about before. Without NFT technology, you can't make a discrete digital asset. And that was the missing piece for digital art for all these years. There was no way that you could really take digital art and turn it into something that was uniquely ownable. And now you can, and it's really opened up everything digital art-wise, and I mean, the world has changed at this point for digital artists.
How were digital artists, you know, making money before? Kelsey, like in photography, what did that look like for you before, and how has this changed your practice?
Yeah, so before NFTs, I was a full-time commercial photographer, and I also did the whole Instagram influencer thing. You know, it's like a bad word now these days. But so there was a lot of ways I could make money commercially from photography, but what got me really excited about NFTs was I could create the work that I wanted to create, not a work a client wanted me to create or an algorithm. I could take back my agency as a real artist and put out the work and stories that I wanted to, and there was a place for that again, and a way I could still earn a living for that again. And it felt like, to me, it felt like the starving artist mentality is dead. Like, we can all actually eat now and make the work we wanted to. So yeah, I got really excited about it from the get-go, yeah.
How has it changed your practices? Like, from starting out and, you know, minting your first NFTs, does it change the way you think about the art you create in the first place? Curious how you think about that. Anybody?
Yeah, I mean, I agree completely with Kelsey. Like, there's this newfound freedom. Like, you could sit in your room and make art that you wanted to make before, but it wasn't going to sell like you doing work under the thumb of a company. Like, when I was building and selling back game assets per contract to gaming companies, like, it was exactly what they wanted. I'd get paid very little, and I was just like, this is my future until I figure out how to sell my prints.
The game is making millions, and you're, making
Yeah.
your salary.
Yeah, and I'm so out of the loop on how that even works being contracted like that. So, it's just complete freedom, I guess.
Well, to that point, exactly. It's about freedom. Artists have agency now. Before this, I know, I'll see traditional art before this. You're with a gallery, you go through the gallery model. It's very difficult as an artist to break out and do your own thing. And with the elimination of the gatekeepers from the traditional gallery model, with the platforms, with a whole new batch of collectors with a new aesthetic they're interested in, artists really are empowered right now because of NFTs and blockchain to do what they want to do finally, and actually to be rewarded and be able to make a living doing it all around the world. So.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to touch on too, and especially like Gabe, your story is so interesting. You're a physical medium artist. Gabe was on display at the Crossing Over exhibition at the NFT Museum, which was focused on artists who, they're painters, they're sculptors, they're sketch artists, all these kinds of things. And now they've moved into a digital medium. And how has that impacted the art you create, or how do you think differently? And I know that's sort of evolved in different ways, both to digital and from digital. But I'd love to know a little bit about how you think about that.
I mean, it makes making art that much more fun. I'm a paint junkie. I own like every paint that exists, but there's certain colors digitally that you just cannot buy. There's a reason. There's like internet blue. It just pops on the internet. And I think for me, I have my paintings. I take, high-res scans of them or pictures, and then I go on top of it. And it feels like it's completing the piece for me in some ways, in a way that when I do the paintings, the only way it's complete if I like leave it up in my studio for a year and like play with it constantly. Whereas with this, it just feels like almost completing the work. Although I still love making paintings every day. I'm not giving that up.
Yeah, and Jasti, you're always with some sort of utensil in your hand, always drawing.
Yeah.
And what has this been like, moving into a digital atmosphere?
I actually started in the digital atmosphere, but from that digital space, I started creating physical art. And so I'm kind of the opposite story, because I started during quarantine, and I had the Adobe Suite, and I was making logos for people, and I was in like Discords and all this other stuff. And through that, I was able to accumulate commissions and stuff like that, and that would never be enough to like even get the materials to like start making physical art. But through NFTs, it's allowed me to sell my digital stuff first, and then get the amount to buy these visual materials and create more expansive works and expand on everything that I'm building.
This is a big question. I don't know if you prepared for it, but what's been the most exciting moment for you in the past year in your NFT or your art career in general? Like, was there a moment with a specific piece or something that happened in the industry or ecosystem? But what was the moment that was just so exhilarating, so exciting for you over the past year?
I'll go first. A few months ago, someone found me from NFTs. He's like, I'm sending my gallerist to your studio. I'm like, okay, sure. Well,
Sure,
like,
sounds good.
I'm gonna lose a liver here, is what I really told my wife right before. Like, this might be really bad. And then she took a bunch of pictures of the work, doesn't tell me anything, it's like very discreet. I'm like, I have no idea what's gonna happen. And then the next day he bought like 15 paintings at like $50,000, $60,000, and I was like, my mind was just absolutely
So we're gonna
blown.
dox this person? Who is this?
It's like a Nigerian print. We didn't return this email. Like, so my wife takes all the emails. She's not returning it. It's like, this is too good to be true. He's like, I'm one of the top collectors in Asia. I'm like, sure you are. Like, sends his gallerist over, like, I'm gonna die here. And then he buys, like, just goes and, like, almost everything they took a picture of, he just bought. So that was the moment where I was like, used NFTs to sell physical art and like used it as a platform, which I think this is just a tool, in my opinion. Like, you can still do everything within art. Just use this as one of the tools in the tool shed.
I'm going to get back to high moments, but I want to touch on this subject while we're on it. What is your relationship like with collectors? I mean, you have this anonymous collector base that's out there, and that's massive, and then you have, in some cases, part of the power of this is you can have these direct, really wonderful relationships with collectors. You build relationships and you build community in this way. So yeah, what do your collectors look like, or how would you describe your relationship with collectors?
Well, I mean, that's one of the nicest things about the space. Traditional art, it goes to the gallery. Most of the time, you never even see the collector. I don't know where nearly any of my work is these days that's been sold that way. But my NFT collectors, every time they're in town, every time I'm in New York, when we get a chance to see each other, we go hang out, we chat online. I mean, it's turned into true friendships with most of them, which is really special, because you have to just appreciate how nice it is to have somebody invested in you and supporting you and your friend behind you in your journey as an artist. And not having that before and having that now, you just really appreciate how fortunate we are in the situation.
Anyone else have a comment on that one? All right, then back to biggest moment of the last year. Who wants next?
I want a Lambo, bro.
I could count that as one. During Art Basel, I got this crazy opportunity to deck out a Ferrari.
What's your art?
What?
You did what with it?
I drew on it.
You drew all over it.
I drew all over it. Yeah. It was fun. But the other one was my one crazy nifty drop from last year. It ended up selling a lot. That was really fun. I do have a nifty gateway drop tomorrow, so check that out.
Let's go.
Chill. Everybody watch.
But yeah, that was really fun. There's been tons of amazing moments through traveling that I would never have gotten through this NFT space. The NFT space is really more than just, I know probably none of you need to hear this because you're already here, but it's more than just the digital aspect. There's a whole community and like the physical aspect at these type of events, it's a whole different,
Well, I've got to know, like, you're hanging out with a lot of old people here, including myself. What's it like? Like you're building a career right now in this community, and how do you feel about that in terms of your age or how that gets considered?
I'm not sure if age is as considered now as it was. Like back in the day in March, back then it was like.
Oh, way back in March.
Wait. No, not March of this year, but last March 2021.
No, that's fair.
Most of the time, if you were like a younger artist, they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I need this now," or whatever, You saw a bunch of like younger creators back then, but now it's still kind of the same, but it's like more fleshed out now.
Yeah. Have you found some artistic mentorship and some folks you can?
Yes, absolutely.
connect with?
There's been some great friends in both the digital art and physical art space that helped me out with both. Have a bunch of friends that have helped me try to figure out where I want to go with both aspects.
That's awesome. Zoe, how about you? High point of the last year.
I don't know if I can pinpoint one for sure. I mean, the past 2 years have been some of the best of my life so far. But I think like showing work in Dubai this last spring, it was my first like international exhibiting of work. And the two daughters of the guy that organized Metacon is what it was called. They came up to my booth and I make like dark and cute characters. And these two little girls loved it so much and drew my characters. And it was like, I'm so far away, but I'm connecting to these like girls who love what I'm doing. I don't know. It was just like finally I feel like it's all starting to make sense. So that was a really amazing moment.
The global nature of this is absolutely incredible, right? The way that you can build friendships and community and collector bases from countries in all parts of the world, it's beautiful.
No, I love that. I mean, you all touched on that, right? Just kind of like the walls kind of come down in the space, and you get to meet people from all over the country, all over the world. There really isn't any dividing line anymore within Web3. So I guess for me, worked with Monogramma DAO. We created a super rare space, and we ended up onboarding 125 artists from 75 different countries to super rare, all in support of a couple Amazonian tribes who are fighting for their lands right now under the government. And so we ended up raising a bunch of money for them, and they invited me down to be a warrior in their tribe. So I added that to my bucket list, and then I'm gonna go check it off. So that's
Who needs to be knighted by the queen? I want to be a warrior.
Yeah, that's my high point.
That's fantastic. Kelsey, how about you?
So my journey with NFTs was a little different in that when I got into NFTs, everyone told me that photography wasn't a thing that would ever work on NFTs, that I needed to be a real digital artist, that I needed to learn how to animate. But I'm really stubborn, and so I was like, no, I'm not going to change my work for this. I'm excited, but like we need photography to be a thing here. So I started minting my work on platforms March 2021, and it took a long time to sell. It took a while, and I got to a point where I was like, man, we'll see if this really ever works for us. But I'm gonna sit here and see what happens, and then. I think it was this January, almost a year later, I minted a collection of 10 one-of-ones, and they sold out in under 24 hours. And that was just insane to see that there was actually a market for that, and that photography actually could chill. We could hang here. So it was a good day.
Change, in such a short period of time. I mean, at the NFT Museum, we often talk about photography as being one of the most accessible ways to explain NFTs, because people clearly understand the difficulty photographers have with their digital assets in terms of selling them or having collectors. And a collector just getting a print that the artist printed out and signed that's a certain size and a certain format is not necessarily what the collector wants in their home, right? It could be any size and any shape. And so, how do they still buy a ticket on the journey of that artist and support them and be a part of it, and be able to utilize the art in the way that they want to in their homes? It's really, really cool. This is another up for grabs for everybody. What do you think? Yeah, okay. Get your fists up. What do you think is the most common thing that people tend to get wrong about NFTs or about your art in NFTs? Something that is a misconception or something that you are always having to sort of explain or deal with?
I think it's that the art is the most important thing. Art's not. The quality of the art doesn't matter as much as your role within the community and your contribution to community. It's so much about your network within the space and how you represent yourself. Art is secondary, which I think is counterintuitive.
Interesting.
No.
Who's bigger?
He's 16. He'd probably take me, but I would second that. I think I just sold out the Stoics. We got hacked.
Who has a Stoic? Yeah,
one.
Me too.
We got one. We got two. All right, we'll take two.
We got 3 over here.
But sold out 5,000, got hacked, had every problem you can have at the start, and it still sold out in minutes in a bear market because I had those relationships. Also, like, my other examples, like Shepard Fairey came in, his first NFT is one-of-one on the same day that he had a thing where he was like flying you to Texas. The amount of stuff he was doing for you was incredible. I think it sold for 26,000. And like one of my 5 of 5s that day sold for more, like addition of 5. And like, just to be clear, Shepard Fairey is a billion times bigger artist than me in the real world. But in the NFT space,
in the real world,
like, in the metaverse, in Web3, it was like I had been putting in the work, and it looked like he was just coming in to make money. And I think, not saying that's what he did, but that's what it looked like at the moment. Not talking shit. No, hopefully it's not recorded. But I think it just tells you that like it matters how you come into the community, how you're helping people. Like, are you showing up at all the events? Are you drawing for people? Are you trying to build relationships within Web3? And if you're not, then you look like a cash grab. Unlike Shepard Fairey, who's great and a good person.
Props. Something else that people tend to get wrong or that's a misconception?
Yeah, just to add on that, I don't know if it really answers your question, but just what you guys were saying, I do think it's interesting in this space because when you take out the middleman and the artist is directly going to the collector, then you don't you have to do everything yourself. Like you're your own marketer, your own PR, your own sales, all of that. So you really have to understand how to brand yourself as an artist and have a personal brand. You can't just show up and drop a piece and think it's gonna sell. Like you have to be a part of the community. You have to be able to tell people who you are. You have to do events. You have to do all the things. And I think people can kind of lose sight of that when they're starting out. Yeah.
Anything else to add on that topic?
I think outside of Web3, the elevation of digital art and animation and photography, maybe it wasn't in blue chip galleries before, and now it kind of being on the same playing field, especially in Web3. Outside of this community, often I have to say I'm an animator, I am showing work here, I am selling work at this amount now, supporting myself, and they'll be like, are you gonna make rent this month, next month, this and that? And I think people don't really understand that now artists coming up in this space can be in auction houses, they can make it to a gallery, they can become blue chip artists if they weren't already, so that's definitely new.
Awesome. Well, one of the ways that we figure out how to do curation at the NFT Museum is definitely by talking to other artists. So I'd like for each of you to say one artist name that you're excited about right now that's not your own. So think about that for a second while everybody you ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Justin Graphics, definitely.
Justin Graphics. What kind of art is that?
It's beautiful art. Very beautiful art.
Okay, got it. Who's next?
My boy TJO.
What kind of art does TJO make?
Oh, he makes mixed media.
Mixed media, awesome.
Victor Mascara.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna say Amani LaRussa.
Okay. What kind of art is that? Sorry.
She's an insane animator. She's dope.
Okay,
Yeah.
we will follow.
Raven 50 millimeter. He's awesome. He's a photographer. We just did a collab last week in Quantum in LA. But yeah, he's dope.
Awesome.
Can I
Well,
say
guys,
another
oh yeah, we skipped you.
No, I already.
Oh,
I
you
said,
already did.
I
Oh,
did,
yeah.
but I want to say
Okay,
another
go
one.
ahead.
My boy Alec, he runs a bunch of stuff. He's dope. He's our artist.
Great. Guys, thank you so much. This has been a fantastic panel. This is what it's all about for us, bringing artists together, having conversations, and helping them connect with each other to continue to build their craft with each other. And so I hope you guys enjoy the conference. It's been fantastic for us. Come stop by the NFT Museum and give these guys a big, big round of applause. And there's Jennifer Wong.